You're on the Six Screens Network, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, and exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society.
Well, hello, everyone, and we certainly do appreciate your presence tonight. Boy, we see a lot of people coming into the Six Screens. I am so pleased to see this network really taken off. And the reason why it's taken off is more and more people are leaving the Watchtower on a daily basis. Hundreds are leaving every day. They're starting to see the cracks. They're starting to see the flaws in the Watchtower organization. Well, my name is Rick Farron. I'm here at the control panel. We're getting ready to bring Dick and Constance Borghi on. They're coming in from South Carolina. So let's see if they're on with us right now. Hello, Dick and Constance.
Hello, Rick. Hi, Rick.
Well, there you go. Well, hello, Dick and Constance. Well, we got you coming on tonight. Now, what I understand is you're going to have our good friend Sharon coming on. So Sharon's going to be on with you. Sharon suffered so much in the Watchtower, and we're looking forward to hearing her story again. Sharon, just to see if you're on with us. Are you on there with us, Sharon? I don't see her yet. I don't see her on with us. If you are,
I'm here.
All right, just checking in with you, Sharon. So you stay right there. I just want to make sure we got all the cards in place here before we move forward. Thank you, Sharon, for being on the ball. We appreciate it. So, anyways,
it's okay.
All right, thank you, Sharon. So, anyways, Dick and Constance, I'll cut you loose. You guys do the program. I'm here in the background if you need me, and just let me know if anything's wrong here, and we'll jump right in and help you out. Okay?
Well, thank you, Rick, and welcome everybody to the Dick and Connie Show. We used to call it D&C, but some people got that a little confused. They thought it has to do with a hysterectomy or something. So it's the Dick and Connie Show. Anyway, I just want to remind people that I'm getting really excited about the convention we're going to have up in Tewksbury, Mass. And you know what? It's only 10 months away today. And, I would suggest to all of you that are listening, if you plan on going, put the money away every single month for the convention. We know it's going to run you around $200 a day for the room and some food. But, it's going to be well worth it. But I would just, again, suggest that you start putting some money away. Talk about your transportation if you're coming from a distance. Okay, with that said, we have a guest, and it's a very, very special sister. And if you're on a diet, you don't want to go to her house for dinner. I can tell you that. Well, we have a sister here, Sharon. And she's actually been in the Jehovah's Witness longer than Rick, 54 years. And she, with a
53.
Well,
Yeah, 54 would have killed me. Well, 53 and a half. We're almost there.
There you go. Well, anyway, Rick likes to use this term. She knows where the bones are buried or the bodies are buried. And she certainly does. Very, very interesting person to talk to. I hope everybody listens. *6 if you want to ask Sharon any questions. And I'll just turn this phone over to my wife.
Okay, hello everybody and welcome. Sharon, thank you, honey, for coming on tonight. It's going to be...
Hi, Connie.
Okay. Oh my gosh, we had such a great conversation this afternoon. It was awesome. And we're just so grateful, honey, that you're able to come on tonight and do part 2. And just a little bit of a recap for maybe people who hadn't listened last week, or 2 weeks ago. Sharon was in the organization Born and Raised. Both parents were JWs. She's the oldest of 9 children. She's the firstborn, and she was in for 53 years. And Sharon, what year was it? How many years ago has it been since you woke up?
December 5th, 2012 is my anniversary of leaving.
Yes, of leaving. Yes, and of course Sharon's from New York.
Yeah.
We love the accent. Yeah, we love the accent. So, you know, Sharon, maybe what we can do tonight is pick up. We were talking about today, like, what was it that really woke you up? We're going to touch on some things and different topics, but about your testimony. So, you know, what was it that woke you up? I would love for you to share with the audience, when you're talking about the mother. That was just one little tip. And then I'd also
yeah.
Huh?
It was all in the same year, so it's like it was meant to be for me to be slapped awake. And it started in October, the very last assembly I went to. I rode with a family, a husband and wife, and I was just in their house on Thursday. Just there, Thursday. This is Sunday, okay, the last day.
Yeah.
And he had just said to her, you know, we're going to have to be frugal for this month. So imagine my shock when she writes out a $200 check to the Watchtower Society while I'm sitting next to her.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, $200? And he just said that, but she was a pioneer. And so who knows, you know, maybe they were giving 500 and 200 was a discount. I don't know. But $200 to me, you know, 12 years ago,
that was a lot of money. Yes.
12 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
So here we are at that assembly, right? Like I said, it was Sunday, doing the last prayer, okay?
Yep.
As the guy is doing the prayer, he talks to the J God, and he says, you know, about to watch over the Watchtower. I'm trying to remember how it was phrased. To watch over the spiritual mother Watchtower's children on their way home, because we lived in Delaware and the assembly hall was in New Jersey. So when he said spiritual mother Watchtower, I jerked my head up. That didn't sit well, because that's Mary. That's the Mary worship, spiritual mother.
Right. Oh, I was
That was the first time I heard that.
Right, because in Catholicism, they do worship Mother Mary. Yes, they do. So, but you were born at JW, so that was an unusual term for you to hear, huh?
Extremely. Okay, so that was October. So then the following month, November, okay, my daughter calls me and she says, Ma, did you see that? I don't know if it was Dateline 24 Hours. I don't remember what it was. But she said, did you see that last night on the Watchtower? And I said, no, what was it? And she said about this girl named Candace Conti, who was suing Watchtower for $28 million. So I was like, oh, wow, what did she do? And then she says, Mom, she said, we both know that this is definitely a possibility. So I was like, well, what was it? What was it? And she said that somebody had been a pedophile to her, one of the elders. And when she threw that at me about my family, you know, my mom, hello,
Right.
So what do? I call my father, okay? Because even though I have like a very strong persona and I'm very forceful in so many ways.
Are you really?
I think just a touch. Of course, I'm going to call my father because he's not only an elder, but he's a PO, right?
Right, but hold on, honey. Okay, hold on, honey. 1 second.
Sure.
So maybe the audience, you know, didn't hear this. Refresher. Your mom was a baptized sister, but she was also a pedophile. So when you said that the pedophilia ran in your family. That's what you were referring to.
That's what I meant. Yes.
Exactly. Okay, so now your father's an elder, and he had been
a PO.
A PO, and he was an elder, honey, because this is key. This is very key. I want the audience to really listen carefully to this part. So your father was an elder at this point for like how many years, Sharon?
At least 40 years, at least.
Right. Okay. So keep going now. What happened after that?
So I give him a call, and I said, Dad, what's this stuff about Candace Conti? So in the Watchtower with, a brother going after her. And he said, well, that's just apostate lies.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said to me, I still can't believe he said this to me. He goes, you have no idea how many times I have called the authorities during the week to turn pedophiles in, okay? I said to him, Dad, that is a lie. And that's exactly as I said it to him.
Okay, now say it again, Sharon, because your voice, your accent. Your father said what exactly? Mm-hmm.
He said it was apostate lies.
Okay.
And I said to him, that he had to call in. Like every week, I would be surprised at the number of calls he makes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
No. That was a lie. I knew it was a lie because if he couldn't even turn his own wife in, believe it. I mean, my little brother was 3 years old when she hooked up with this guy and left the state.
Yeah, right.
He was 3.
So let's just stop there for a minute. So your father had been married, of course, to your mom, and then they got a divorce, and then she was a pedophile, and she was much older than this teenage man.
25 years.
25 years. And your father knew that his ex-wife was a pedophile, but he never turned her in because she was not in good standing. Right.
Yeah.
So you called your dad out about being a liar, right?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did. And he knew I would. I didn't understand why he would say that to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would like to comment on that because I'm sure we have elders, so forth, maybe JW listening. It's all good. But, the point and your father, that's why I emphasized how long your father had been an elder. And you said at least 40 years.
At least, yes.
Sharon, okay? And you were born and raised in it and your whole family.
Yeah, well, I was 3 when Mary DeFatti knocked on the door.
Right. So the point I'd like to make is, see, this is what's very interesting. When a person can step out of the organization or at least think very clearly away from the propaganda, this is the point. The point is this. Your father was willing to just be a yes man to the corporation of Watchtower, to be completely loyal to Watchtower at the sacrifice of children's safety. That's the bottom line.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And like I told you today, I don't think that my mother hunted in Watchtower land. I don't think she did that. It was the way I had. Yeah, I don't think she did that because there was just too many people who idolized her. Because, I said, the sisters used to come over if the person on Marcus Welby died, the guest star. If that person died that week, that Saturday, there was a luncheon for the sisters with unbelieving mates and single sisters to come over. And my mother could interview them to marry my father when she died because she had the disease of the week.
So she's a hypochondriac. Yes, right.
Oh, God, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, but the point is so that the audience understands what you're saying, running down. In other words, your mom was a predator. She was a pedophile, and most pedophiles are predators. And yet, your mom had been a JW predator.
Right.
What's
so weird, Connie, with all this was until you were sitting in my living room,
right?
I did not realize what was going on until you were there, and I had that light bulb over the head moment.
Right.
But your mom did not go after children in the congregation like many of these men do in the organization, right?
No,
what you're saying, she was interested in non-JW children. She'd bring into her bedroom in the neighborhood.
Yeah, because that would reflect back on my father, and my parents used to beat each other up, so I don't think that would have been a good time. And I might have had another sibling after that one, because every time they fought, there was the makeup baby 9 months later.
Right. Well, and God forbid if something happened and your father was an elder, and this was going to be brought, before the other elders, he would have had to step down as an elder. He would have lost his privileges.
Oh,
he wasn't
definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Was not going to let that happen. So that's very interesting. So you woke up. These were the different situations that happened that helped you really wake up.
In October and November, and then the day I woke up was my granddaughter's birthday. I was in the Kingdom Hall. It was December 5th. And there was 3 announcements made.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was disfellowshipped. We were told to send everything to Watchtower. And then the research thing. And it was like, it felt like somebody slapped me awake. Mm-hmm. So it started in October where it was like prickling at me.
Right.
And then November when my father lied to me. And then December with those 3 announcements.
Right. Right. So how did you feel, Sharon? I mean, 53 years in this organ. I've always said it's a very large pill to swallow. But once you're able to get that pill down and wake up, you take the rose-colored glasses off and you can see what's really going on. Like Rick was behind
it wasn't until I started doing the research that it really hit me.
Yeah.
That's when it really hit me. Mm-hmm. And I just broke down and cried for 6 hours straight. Just sobbed. I felt like the floor was kicked out from underneath me.
Right. Well,
almost
nobody
like I was switched at first,
Oh, yeah, right. Nobody wants to feel deceived, and everybody wants to feel like, that they're intelligent people, that they were not Jews. This is the truth. It is God.
You know what the worst part about this whole thing, Connie, is this freaking organization, okay? Yeah. My whole life, and we spoke about this today, I did not feel worthy of that organization.
Right.
Like it was so above me. I was such a worthless thing that I wouldn't even teach my own children.
Honey, when you said that, I was really surprised by that, Sharon.
I wouldn't teach them.
Because you are truly like one of the most intelligent Bible scholars I know. And that's the truth. When you do your research, boy, do you do your research. I mean, you go into the book of Asher, you go into the book of Enoch, you go into books that a lot of people don't even know were original books of the Bible. They don't.
Yeah, right.
And you know all about that, and you've read them and so forth, Sharon. So I was very shocked when you said that, but I'd like to just add something to that, Sharon. From what I can see, I mean, I've been out almost 40 years now. It's 41 years. And I was going to say, I think as time goes on, you start to see, and I think there's a lot of truth to this, what I'm about to say. I think not everyone, but I think many people are so attracted to this organization because many people are really dysfunctional. They're they come from very dysfunctional families. They're looking for a quick fix with whatever.
They're looking for love. Because that's what they get on the first, couple of visits.
The love
that's what they're looking for. That's what they're getting. And then they're sucked in. It's too late because they're getting more than what they got from their family.
Right. That's very true. There's a lot of brokenness among people, whether you're a witness or not, but witnesses have a lot of that going on, and they're looking for that security. Oh, everyone wants to feel like they belong. They want to feel like They have family. They want to feel love. They want to feel a sense of community, all that. And Watchtower, excuse me, just tries to have that all set up with this, with this organization. And it's not until you're in it long enough that you start to really see, the cracks in the foundation of the organization.
Right. And the funny part is, this is why I was made to feel unworthy, I think. But like I said to you earlier today, I think I was put in like a cocoon. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I made a 53-year-old cocoon. I mean, how long did a cicada stay in the ground? 18 years before they emerge. So anyway, my sister, who's 11 months younger than me, we would be standing side by side. We would get invited somewhere and I wouldn't. And I'm standing right next to her and I'm her sister.
And you're the firstborn.
And I'm the firstborn. And the way she was treated was totally different from me. So I didn't have I wasn't in any cliques, let me put it that way.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I wasn't in anything like that. Because if I didn't like something, I would say something about it. And I have a lot of friends that are like that they won't let things go by. If it's wrong, they're going to say something.
Right. Right. And I think that's very common among New Yorkers. You guys are very straightforward.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to blurt it out like, oh, you're a fat slob, I ain't going to say that. So, well, you could wash the dishes. You need me to help you wash the dishes up, something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
If they have a messy house or whatever. But yeah, it's just, they're giving people in search of something what they need. And then they remove it. So that's a love. And they remove it.
Well, it's delusional because it's not genuine. As time goes on, you realize the genuine love is not there. For example, they say, it's brotherly love. We're keeping the congregation clean by the disfellowshipping policy, right? Policy. That's what it is. But the thing is, when I was in, I thought, okay, well, yeah, bad apple spoils the whole bunch. Okay, I can understand that. But I didn't know that there were pedophiles that were molesting children in the organization at the time.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. You'll disfellowship somebody because of immorality, which is the majority of the cases, not all, but the majority. But then yet you'll allow people, ministerial servants, elders, to molest and rape children. And then not only is that allowed, but
not tell anybody.
It's covered up. You don't tell anyone. You don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
You don't report it to the authorities. They can still go door to door. They can, there are no restrictions on them. So really, how are you keeping the congregation clean when that's going on?
How is that loving your neighbor if you got these people knocking on the door and mom's sleeping?
Well, that's it, Sharon. That's
really,
they're predators. Yeah, I told you what today when I was a child with my friend Luann and we were in 6th grade. I won't go into details, but that guy was a pedophile, and we were only little girls, and we were down at the park together after school, and he was sizing us up. That's for darn sure. So
that's horrible, man. Really.
Yeah, and when you're
understand that.
You're just so innocent. You're just playing. You don't know about grown-up things. You're just having fun.
Well, that's what I was saying to you when I told you that. I remembered that we were playing pornos.
Oh yeah,
we were laughing about it. We didn't know what that stuff was. I was 11 years old.
Right.
He got bit by a snake or he swallowed one. I mean, we were making fun of the noises they were making. We were little kids. What did we know?
Yeah, exactly. And Sharon, that's the other thing I would like to just say in reference to pornography. I don't know what the stats are, but it's like a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide. That's why pedophilia is just so huge. It starts
trafficking. Yeah.
It's huge. We saw that show. What was the name of the show, Rich? About the children, Sound of Freedom. Oh my God!
Yes,
it was done so beautifully and excellent taste, but it's all beyond the amount of money, the profit they make is beyond anything you could ever think. Drug cartels or anything, human trafficking, and excuse me, and it's worldwide. But I was going to say, the point I was going to say is, Watchtower in the Elders book. I'm drawing a blank. The Flock. What's the name of the Elders book?
Shepherding the Flock.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as far as pornography is concerned, that's not a disfellowshipping offense. So,
and it used to be.
And it used to be, Sharon. So if it's not a disfellowshipping, what does that tell you? That tells you because it's so darn prevalent.
Yeah.
I mean, how many brothers would be brought into the judicial committee, including elders and ministerial servants, if it was? So now in the Shepherding the Flock book, it's like a little slap on the wrist. It's not a disfellowshipping offense. Now that speaks volumes, if you ask me.
Yeah, what about the trauma done to the child?
That's right.
Yeah, just a thought on this. There's a scripture that tells you that if you're looking at this stuff, you're eventually going to do it in 99.9% of the cases. If you're looking at porn, you're going to get your libido going, and if your libido heads in the direction of little children, well, you know what? The Watchtower will clear that up. But they have no problem getting up on the platform and say, hey, Brother Borgie's been disfellowshipped. No problem with that because you have to keep the congregation clean. I don't know how that really works. It doesn't work, but that's what they claim.
What kind of cleaning are these people doing?
But
so they're almost treating children like they're non-existent entities.
That's right.
Well, of course, because they don't have a paycheck coming in yet.
They didn't dunk for the demons.
Right, but the point that I'm driving at, Sharon, is this. They don't tell the congregation that there are pedophiles in the congregation. The only ones that know about it is the elders, and they close mouth about it. And then kids, Candace Conte is an example of that. She got assaulted, and it happens all the time. My former congregation had 5 pedophiles in it, and I was talking to Rick. Rick knows who they are. I knew most of them anyway. And then a young man that works for Rick, he was accosted by a pedophile in the same congregation. I used to be in the same congregation as Luke, and Luke he used to hang around with my youngest boy, Stephen. And to find out years and years later that Luke was accosted, by a pervert.
Yeah.
Sharon, the point that you brought up, I was thinking the same lines of thought that you were. And that is, I don't think this organization, I don't think they respect women, just the fact that the way women are treated. But in terms of our conversation here tonight, I don't think that they respect children either, because they would do something about protecting the children, and they don't. I mean, look at how many families don't have children. Like, I should say family. I'm talking about collectively. I'm talking about husband and wives in the organization that don't have kids. There's many of them that don't.
Yeah.
So of the ones that do have children, I don't think that they truly respect the family.
No, because it's an announcement from the podium can make that kid who dunked for those people be sent to the bedroom to eat because he can't eat with family no more. Can't watch anything on the TV with the family anymore because he's dead. Even though his body is still alive, he's spiritually dead to them, so they don't want nothing to do with him, thinking that's going to draw him back in. I mean, if you could just turn off everything for a kid because they got disfellowship, don't agree with what you believe. I mean, if you believed in the moon being made of blue cheese like we used to as kids, should your children believe in it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it may sound silly, but really is the same thing, because the Watchtower is nothing but a fantasy.
Right. It's all delusional. And the
That's
thing
all
is,
it is.
they use the Bible as their weapon, that they think that they're so superior and they are the true religion. And this is the only channel of communication Jehovah uses. And it's not, it's very demonic. It has no Holy Spirit. There's nothing Christian about it. There isn't. You can't have pedophiles raping children and turn around and call yourself a Christian. There's no way you can do that. And I just wanted to say, Sharon, you know, your father, excuse me, I got this little frog in my throat tonight. Excuse me. Your father was trying to say Candace Conti was an apostate lie, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to say to the audience, you know, I'm from California originally. You're from New York. I did not know Candace Conti. I left the organization in '83. I disassociated myself. And I was in my late 20s at the time. So I did not know anything about pedophiles in the organization or anything. But I just knew there was a lot of hypocrisy and a lot of lack of love. And 1975 came and went, and, you know, the lies and all that. Well, Candace Conti, I personally know. I met Candace, found out about her through this show, and found out she was from the San Francisco Bay Area, which is where I'm originally born and raised for 50 years in the Bay Area. And she was from the North Fremont congregation, which was down by San Jose. And anyway, we used to have our assemblies in Fremont, okay, right on Osgood Road. Anyway, so when I found this out, I wanted to find out more about her. Now, I had been out of the organization for many, many years, and I just hooked up with her mom. Let's see, time goes by so darn fast. Say maybe about, 6 years ago. It hasn't been that long. And her mom's name is Catherine. And, you know, we were on the phone chatting, had a great conversation, and just wanted to ask her about her daughter, and her daughter's doing fine. And then, you know, the mother and daughter are very, very close. And they had invited me. I won't say where they live now because they're very private, and I respect that. But they invited me to a party. In fact, it was this time of the year. I remember that. And I got to meet Candace in person, which was just lovely. And anyway, it was wonderful. So, I mean, I have the mother's number. I didn't ask for Candace's number, but, you know, I can call the mother anytime I want. And I just can't stand when people say, oh, well, those are apostate lies. Or when Rich and I and Rick, what was it? Just last year, Rick, we were out there at the Songres there in Massachusetts at the assembly, and we had signs about pedophiles. And this one gal pulls up, you know, she's in the passenger seat, and she's probably about, you know, in her 20s, maybe 22, something like that. And she looks at me like as if we're lying, right? I says, no, I'm not lying. I personally know Candace Conti. So don't tell me I'm lying. I know her personally. So, you know, the thing is that people, when I say people, I'm talking about the organization, Watchtower organization. They don't want to be exposed for who they really are.
No,
that's the bottom.
You know, and that, you know, Connie, that makes me wonder if that's why Rubberface called the children enemies of the J guy.
Oh yes, remember that?
Because think about this, okay? If you are raising a child in Watchtower, first of all, you have control over what they're seeing on television. Right. You have control of what they're seeing in the movies. You have control of what they're hearing in the music. They're not getting any of the sexual stuff that little children come out with that happened to them.
Right.
How can you not believe what they're saying if what you are having parents teach them guidelines and they're following them? How can you not believe them?
Right. It's a slap in the face when you saying, oh, Johnny or Susie, you know, you're lying. You're not telling mommy the truth.
How can you say that about that nice elder? How can you say that about that nice pioneer?
Mm-hmm. See, because they're all about status. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, celebrity status. Oh, my God, yeah. You got kids going to Bethel? Whoa. You might as well go buy a mansion.
Right. Or he's a pioneer, or he's a presiding overseer, or oh, he's a sort of whoop-de-doo.
And then, oh my God, Connie, I find out my father's anointed.
Oh my God.
Come on. He was born in 35. That's when it ended. Hello.
Well, and then your parents were beating each other up. I mean, how in the heck? You know, having so much violence in the house, which is not in all families, but I've heard that so many times, Sharon. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a lot of violence.
They go to the Kingdom Hall like they're just Mr. Perfect elder and everything. Yeah. And then they go home and they knock the you-know-what out of their kids after the meeting.
Yeah,
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You know,
they were fidgeting. They had to go to the bathroom too much. They weren't sitting still.
Yeah. You lived that, Sharon, yourself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We sure did.
Yeah, you lived that. So, you know, honey, the other thing I was going to say, so, you know, there's this attitude in the organization that, you know, it's all about title. It's all about status. And they puff everybody's ego up that, oh my gosh, they're so anointed, you know. So now, okay, not to cut you off, but think about this. Okay, now that they're talking about these 17-year-old elders, 17-year-olds. Okay, they probably don't even have a whole mustache yet, just peach fuzz. Okay, so here they are. They're going to go do a case, judicial decisions. Oh, they better not have a big nose, because you can't make judicial decisions with a big nose. Okay, so anyway, these 17-year-olds are going to go. They're going to take out their little pads, write down all the juicy details, right? Yeah,
because they're elders. What are they going to do then? They're going to meet all their teenage friends and tell them all the juicy. Come on, this is ridiculous. I mean, you can't even write soap operas like this.
Well, and the thing is, too, Sharon, I mean, you know, if you're 17 years old, come on, what do you know about life? You don't know anything, okay? You don't get
the emotions that are going around there.
Right.
Or what pushes somebody to the edge to do that.
Well, the thing is, they don't have the experience, and they don't have the qualifications either, but they don't have life's experiences. How are you going to sit down and talk to a couple that's maybe in their, say, 50s, they're having problems with their marriage, and you're 17, 18, give me a break. You know,
exactly.
You know, it's a total.
You know
joke.
What's next? The hospital liaison. They're going to be sending these kids out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The murder.
So what are they doing? Okay, let's give you a title that you'll never get paid for. You'll never get a benefit for. Just title. The world don't care.
Right.
Just inside this little bubble. That title is everything.
Well, you know, honey, they just have these egos that in the real world, you just want to take a pin and pop that balloon because it's so fragile. And they have absolutely no meaning in the real world. They're in their own little cocoon or their own little delusional bubble. They are. It's like we were saying, a lot of the elders, whoop-de-doo. I mean, they can be the judge, jury, and executioner of your life, and many of them are, okay? And yet, they're driving a school bus, or they're working
bumping floors, washing windows. I was a housekeeper. There's money in dirt, so there's no shame in that field. But still, these guys are not educated to make these kind of decisions. Like the medical thing I sent you.
Yes.
With appendicitis is a worm biting your appendix. Come on.
You know, you want to share that with the audience a little bit tonight? This is very interesting.
It was from the golden age, right? I'm in the bedroom. I'm not near my computer, so you would have to look at the website if you're able to. But yeah, all the crazy things. Like I said before, with the big nose, you can't make judicial decisions.
Yep, or I'd have to pull it up on my phone, but it was back in the
sleeping with the your head facing north to the magnetic pole. Let me see, people would rather have smallpox than get the vaccination because I don't know why. I mean, look at history. What happened to some of those people that got smallpox? What it did to their faces?
Yeah. Well, and
they were popped. I mean, it was bad.
The scars from that. Yeah. But you know, this was back in the time when what it was Jehovah's Witnesses. It was a reform against the blood. That's what it was. Apparently,
Yeah,
it was
that's the website. Yeah.
That's the website. And it was just talking about the different things that Watchtower taught back in the Golden Age. And it had, the Golden Age, it had the page number, it had the year and so forth, and what Watchtower was teaching. And most people today, have no clue what they used to teach. And it was unbelievable. And,
and they keep calling it New Light. They should just call it the wind. Because whichever way one of them are feeling that day, that's what the doctrines are.
The wind, toss and turn, right?
Whichever way the wind blows, let's do it this way today. Next week, well, maybe we can let the little goatees go. Nah, let's make it a full beard. Yeah, that'll be okay.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, the thing that I think is so sad with all this is in terms of even like the blood transfusions. How many people, Sharon, have died, from not taking the blood? And they were so proud of all the children they sacrificed right on the altar.
Yeah.
They had it on the stage of, what was it? One of the...
That is sickening. That is sickening.
Yeah, it is sickening.
It really is.
When I was in, they did not have liaison committees, but after that they did. And, it's all in the name, right? It's supposed to be freedom of religion. Really? No. It sounds more to me like a satanic ritual of human sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm.
Well, in the spiritual realm, I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Just let people bleed out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's the same thing with the emblems. You're denying Black Mass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They are just so evil. I mean, even when I disfellowshipped them, because I know this is just a little thing because of how I am, because I have OCD. When it was time for me to tell them that I was leaving, I didn't put it that I was, as if it was from their roles or whatever they wanted to call it, their membership. No, I am divorcing you, disfellowshipping, disassociating you from my life and any issue from my body and my husband's body for forever generations because of your unbiblical stance.
Right.
I didn't throw anything else at it except that. I don't want nothing to do with you because of how you are with the Bible. Mm-hmm. And Connie, if it wasn't for me doing the research on the Bible itself, comparing that big black thing against all the other on BibleHub.com that I compared every other translation to, and matter of fact, that one isn't even listed. Mm-hmm. When I saw all the different changes, I was like, well, what is the point of this? Because I'm extremely precise.
Right.
And if somebody says do not, it's a do not.
Right.
If you're not supposed to take anything out of the Bible, then you don't take anything out. If you're not supposed to add it, you don't add it. But then again, you have to think back to what it says in Jeremiah 8:8. Mm-hmm. How can you say you are of the Lord if the pens of the scribes lie? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So apparently, and then to be in the last chapter of the whole Bible, it was going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and the thing is, when you listen to Bible scholars, I remember listening to John Ankerberg's show. This was many years ago.
Yeah.
And he had some JWs on there, ex-JWs, I should say, ex-JWs.
Yeah.
And anyway, and it was very interesting. But he's also had other shows, if you ever listen to him, John Ankerberg. I think I'm almost sure he's in Tennessee. Anyway, and he had Bible scholars, and they were talking about the New World Translation of the Bible that Jehovah's Witnesses used. And this man who was a scholar, an absolute Bible scholar, he said it is the worst translation of the Bible ever. It is so adulterated is really what it is.
It is. And the only way to get a real Bible is if you get the Ethiopian Bible, because that has everything in it.
Wow.
Because Rome, and when they were doing at Nicaea, their arms didn't stretch as far as Ethiopia.
Wow.
So their Bible has never changed. They have everything in it.
So how would a person get an Ethiopian Bible, Sharon?
You go on Amazon and get the English, because they just put it in English. It's been Ethiopian all these years. And it was just translated, I think last year, it was finally translated into English. And I got mine. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of them, like John 1:1, I mean, that's a real, just by putting in, a God, changes the whole entire meaning of John 1.
It does. It really does. But that's their job, to cause dissension, because you tell that to anybody who isn't a JW, you're going to have an argument. Okay, so that's number one.
Right.
And then when you do find out that doesn't belong there, that's going to cause another argument.
Right.
And then if you go to the elders, you're getting thrown out. So the Watchtower is, in my opinion, the Watchtower is to either make you an atheist,
right,
make you super Christ, where you're obnoxious to everybody, and you just don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You do not leave that organization without a scar of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting point, honey, that you just mentioned. Because there are a lot of JWs, they have this superiority attitude that they think they're so much more intelligent and spiritual than everybody else because they have this, inflated ego that just drives me totally insane. And the bottom line is that deep down inside, they're very insecure people, because when people who really know their Bible sit down and talk to them, Watchtowerites do not like to be challenged, because they only pick and choose so many scriptures that
Watchtower. They only know 150.
150, and that's it.
Yeah, out of the whole Bible.
You start talking to them about grace and mercy, they're lost. It's like, what are you talking about?
They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that.
No,
when you tell them about Luke 21:8, beloved, see that you are not deceived. They're going to come saying, I am he, or saying the end is near. Do not follow them. Oh, that's for other religions. That's not for us.
Right.
No, it didn't say it, except for the one religion that's going to be in a country, in a continent yet unknown, formed by a man who's going to make a potpourri out of all the religions that are coming out at that time. So, it doesn't say anything about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like people are just so desperate to believe the lies, because God forbid they come to a point in their life that they realize that they've been duped, right? It's like you sort of, just as an example, say you save up your money, you work really, really hard, you have a nice nest egg, and then you have that guy with the Ponzi scheme. It sounds so great. Oh, he's telling the truth. He's honest. And they invest their money and find out they've lost their whole entire savings, everything they've worked for. They're older now. They can't go back and work and earn that. They've lost their butts. Well, the same thing is true with Watchtower. A lot of people, they don't want to believe the fact that this could be, just a corporation. It's not even a religion.
It's not.
It's like, oh, no, they're all apostates. They're telling the lies. But
Connie, think about it. All the stuff all the whack stuff that they were saying about science. Okay. Yeah. All right. Science to me today is a religion of its own. All right. So let's not even get on that one. Anyway, they were going to use all this medical stuff, right?
Right.
And all of that is wacky stuff. What makes anybody think that they could get a religion right?
Well, that's an excellent point. Like the blood transfusions, there's no other religion that I'm aware that allows, that teaches that not to accept blood, except JWs.
Right. And the organ transplants, now all of a sudden, it's a matter of your conscience. Well, that's what it should have been all along. What's the matter with these people?
Well, and
what's the matter? You know, and this makes me, it's very, very angry with myself because here I was not feeling worthy of this evil corporation now that I know what it is.
yeah.
And I was so, like, when I woke up, I was going to call Steve Wilkos. And I came up with this whole big transcript to, you know, like the elders would be called, what were they called? The fathers. I mean, I had all these different terms so nobody would know that I was a JW exposing them. And then finally I was like, why am I doing that? They destroyed my entire life.
Right.
I have less time left on the earth than I gave them.
Right. Right. You can't get those years back.
No.
But the thing is, Sharon,
but now there's life.
But now there's life. And that's the other thing, honey, I'd like to talk about. Because I know when I first left, I did not want to talk to anybody about the JW. There was so much shame. That organization just shames everybody. You know, they don't build anybody up. You know, they've got to destroy you. But, you know, I'll tell you one thing. You know, you talk about the scars, you know, like my husband, as you know, was in Vietnam. And the average age was 19, Sharon. We're the same age, 19. And we're just kids at 19. You just get out of high school. Yeah. And they're going all the way over to Vietnam, to another country in Southeast Asia to, you know, kill people. And that's what soldiers do, right, for people's freedoms. Anyway, the point is, my husband was fortunate enough to be able to come back alive. There's a lot of PTSD because what they saw was horrific. But the thing is that many of those boys were 19 years of age. They didn't make it. They ended up being in body bags. Okay. So what am I saying? You know, this whole thing with Watchtower, one thing I can honestly say is we walked away being good soldiers. Okay. We were in the battlefield. Okay. We were good soldiers being JWs. Okay. Now, how does that apply to my life today? Well, it applies to my life today because it's spiritual warfare. There was a time I didn't want to talk about God. I was so angry with Watchtower, didn't want to believe in God. I just felt like I was spiritually raped, right? And so when you go through a process just trying to resolve this. And I said, you know what? I'm getting older. I have to have this issue resolved about what Watchtower has done to me, or my part, you know, my responsibility in it. And this is where John Ramirez came in to really help me and, you know, many other people. But I think a lot of times JWs, his mom was a witness. And you realize that spiritually speaking today, we are in a spiritual warfare. Okay, we're on the battlefield. And the thing is, what you see going on today in the world, it's good versus evil. And you have to really be aware of who your enemy is and what their tactics of destroying you is. And what's interesting about Watchtower, when you really get to see the games they play and the lies that they extort and how they use and abuse people and how they destroy people's lives and just, you know, the list goes on and on and on. Yeah, you can be pretty darn angry and bitter. And I know I sure was. And I know other people listening in are, okay? But what we're trying to do tonight, Sharon, is help people to rise above that, right? Rather than being a victim, right? Rather than
you'll be angry. You will be angry, and there'll be moments where you will be angry, you know, and you'll get mad at yourself. What kind of jerk was I? What was wrong with me? Why couldn't I think? But you weren't permitted to think because you had the Watchtower helmet on.
Right.
And nothing comes through that helmet but Watchtower nonsense.
Right.
That's the only thing that'll come through there.
But, you know, eventually you get to a point where, like, shows like this and a lot of YouTubes of ex-JWs, you know, you get to really learn, Sharon, wouldn't you agree with this, that you take your power back in life. You don't let anyone ever take control of your life ever again like Watchtower does. You know, never. You take your power back. And you don't identify yourself as being an apostate or something disgusting or deplorable or whatever you want to call it. You rise above it. And in fact, you know, when you really know who you are as a person, and especially as a Christian in spiritual warfare, you don't have anything to be afraid of with Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, you don't have to worry about dying in Armageddon, because that's where they have the fear on that clenches right into your jugular. Oh, you're going to die in Armageddon. You're going to lose your whole family.
Yeah.
It's all fear. And you said something interesting, Sharon. You said something really pertinent that I'd like the audience to hear. And what you said is, there's so much division and chaos. Well, God created us to have love, family, unity, and harmony. Okay. And Satan cannot stand the family unit. That's why you got all this transgender stuff going on and everything. Okay. It's part of the Baphomet, It's both. You've got both sexes with the Baphomet and the horns. And the thing is that Satan loves division. He loves to divide families. He loves chaos. Okay. And the thing is, Watchtower is critical in dividing up families. If you do have children and your children, are teenagers and they mess around, they get in trouble for whatever reason, they're disfellowship, they're kicked out of the family, or they're treated like, they're not even human. And,
but Connie, like with my children, they left. My oldest, I totally fought for her not to get baptized, because I don't know what was with me. I just was like, no, I don't want you to get baptized. I don't want you to do it. She thanks me now, but then she hated me, but I would not let her.
Yeah.
My son and my youngest, I was a little bit more lenient. And it was almost like, well, all our friends are getting baptized, so let's go get baptized. So they all went through the class, and all that, and they all got baptized together.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's funny, they're all out.
They're all out.
They're all gone. All the kids, because I was always in the house. I was the parent that was always with the movies. Okay, because I like movies. I like black and white. I just love movies. So I would have 3 VCRs going. I would get when my kids were growing up, it was Weird Science. And there was certain words and scenes that the parents didn't want them to go to the movies to see. Yeah. So I edited them out. But with the 3 machines I had, I edited those scenes, those words out. So, because I had 2 sets of tapes, one that was regular and one that was, for the JW kids.
Yeah.
I had so many tapes, it was incredible. But they knew that they were safe with me. Yeah. And I would like to think that because of me doing that, going against, that I watched it myself to take all that stuff out, I like to think that I had a big hand in getting all those kids out of there.
Well, and I think you probably did, Sharon, because, kids are not stupid,
Yeah. We had movie marathons, which would start Friday after the last bus stop. All the kids would come to my house.
Right.
And then Sunday before the meetings, their parents would come and get them for the meeting. Yeah. They were with me the whole weekend.
Now, honey, I wanted to ask you, what about now that you're out of the organization, maybe you can share with the audience how your life has been since you left. Because remember, honey, when we were in, if you leave Jehovah's organization, where are you going to go? There's nowhere to go, right? That was what they always said. Oh, your kids are going to end up being drug addicts or whatever. It was always the worst scenario. Yeah. Right.
And meanwhile, what are they doing? What were you saying today about your kids are going to turn into drug addicts or prostitution? How many of them are doing that?
Oh yeah, well
we don't know.
I mean,
I was in the wife swapping congregations here.
I was going to say, you were the congregation, had all that going on. My gosh. Oh my gosh, honey.
There's a lot of stuff going on in those congregations.
Yeah, it wasn't boring, huh? There was a lot going on.
No. And Connie, as tall as I am, okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Now I'm not a big fat girl. I am on the slender side, and I'm tall.
Yeah.
As big as I am, it was almost like I was invisible to these people.
Yeah. inside the congregation.
Standing around them, listening to the gossip. It was almost like I wasn't there, and I was able to get all this information.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, it's just, it's nothing more than a corporation, Sharon. That's really what it is. I really would like people to really wake up and stop wasting their time. Even Ray Franz, oh, God forbid they read the book, Crisis of Consciousness. You get your hands on that book, boy, you'll be leaving that Kingdom Hall tomorrow, okay?
Yeah.
You really learn what this organization's all about, okay? And what they don't.
You really do.
He identified it as a corporation. He was a governing body member for many, many years, okay? And Watchtower, what do organizations, corporations do? They're in the business of making a profit, okay? It's all about profit. Profit and loss statement, that's all it is. So why let people...
The bottom line. The bottom line.
They don't care about you as a person. There's no brotherly love because it's a corporation.
Oh, you want to hear how much they care? Oh my God! Like I told you, my mother had the disease of the week all the time. All right. Oh God! All right. She convinces this one brother, okay, that only God's people can help her because none of these doctors know what's wrong with her.
Oh, brother.
Okay. So what do? We get this poor guy with his, I know there's some people listening, so I'm going to say his yellow station wagon with his yellow shirt and yellow pants and white shoes. And we go all the way into Bethel. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
My mother wanted me to marry him.
Oh,
my father wanted me to marry Dane Arch. My mother wanted me to marry this guy. Okay. I think this guy is still in Watchtower, if I'm not mistaken. I know his children are gone, but I think he might still be mature. Anyway, we go driving all the way in, and my mother's like, oh, God. You know, like you see those old women being helped across the street. My mother never walks like this. I mean, so I'm like, what the heck's going on? What happened in the car? For the ride, you know, it was almost a 2-hour ride because we've come from the East End to Long Island. So, you know, what was going on?
What?
That she's all of a sudden all hunched over like this old person. So we go, you know, what happened? I was in the backstage.
After 2 hours in the car.
So we go in, and she's telling the person behind the desk. This is when they had the waterfall behind the desk in the front lobby. And she's telling them all about how bad the doctors are. They don't respect the blood issue. And she's going on and on and on. Now, me and this guy, we're looking at each other like, what is she talking about? All the doctors we had respected the blood issue. I don't know what she was doing. I didn't say anything because I was a kid and I didn't want to get slapped. Okay? So they finally get somebody from upstairs to come down because we were in the lobby like 45 minutes. And she was just complaining the whole time.
At Bethel, right, Sharon?
At Bethel, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Columbia Heights, yeah. That's where we were. All right, so where we were there. And somebody finally comes down and takes us over to the chairs that they had in the lobby. They had a couple of sofas there too. And we're sitting down, and he grabs my mother's hand, and she's like, what's he going to tell me? Oh, you know, she was like all anticipating she was going to be operated on. Oh, this is what she was telling everybody. Okay?
Yeah.
He tells her that because she doesn't belong to Bethel, they can't be responsible for her. That she has to go back to her own doctors because it just doesn't work that way. You have to be a resident of Bethel to have a Bethel doctor look at you.
Right.
Well, we drove home in almost silence. Almost silence. Because what was she going to say? Oh, walking back to the car, she walked fine. So I don't know if it's 45 minutes of standing up or what. But yeah.
I think just love the attention, Sharon. That's what it is. You know,
I think so, yeah.
some patients, honey, they love to keep going to
The Munchausen. Yeah, they're the Munchausen people.
Yeah, for, headaches or whatever. It's, they're a hypochondriac, and they want the attention and look at me and feel sorry for me. And they're crazy. They're crazy. What can I say? Yeah, they're crazy.
There's something definitely wrong. But what does that say about people like me who've been in for decades and decades and decades? What kind of morons were we? Seriously. When you wake up, you're finally like, what was wrong with me? What did I drink? What was I taking? What is the matter with me?
Well, you had it doubly as difficult.
Well, it was beaten to us. There was no... there was no, you could not question. No,
there was a lot of
no questioning.
Yeah, a lot of violence in your family, which was
you kept your mouth shut, and because I was so big, I took a lot of beatings from my brothers and sisters because I couldn't see them being hit the way we were hit. I just couldn't see it.
Right, you were just trying to protect.
But what my mother used to say, beating us up like that was good for when we would go through the tribulation. Our bodies would already be firm and ready for the whips and ready for the torture that we were going to get as witnesses.
Now, honey, that's somebody who's mentally ill to say that, to really think that. That's sick. Yeah. That's very sick. And yet, as children, you think, well, my parents, they're grown-ups. They know what they're saying, right? You believe it as a child because they're older than you.
You see them as God.
Exactly, you do.
They know they have all the answers. They know what's going on. They're looking out for you. Yeah.
Right. That. And then the other thing, you also think that, this is the way we're raised. I'm sure other families are raised the same way, right?
Yeah.
This happens in all other.
There is only one family that I know where the children were never abused, and that's my brother's wife's family. That is the only family that I am aware of that there was no abuse in.
Wow, Sharon. Yeah.
And I know a lot of families.
That speaks volumes, honey. Yeah, they took these scriptures and they twisted them,
They sure did.
They treated their kids like, the parents were Hitler, and boy, you listen to everything you said, or otherwise you're going to get it, Yeah, that was difficult. I didn't have that experience, but my heart was
I told you about the coffee can underneath the bathroom in the ladies' room, and when the mother had enough, she would pick there was wooden spoons in that coffee can, and when the mothers had enough, they would pick the kids up, and you'd hear them screaming through the wall, "No, mommy, not the bathroom!"
Yeah,
you'd hear them.
Oh yeah, I remember that in our hall. I remember that, little ones, they'd be taken and, "Oh, mommy, no, please, or daddy, no. And they're just, oh my gosh, Yeah. CPS would come in.
And I didn't have the heart to do that to my children. I just didn't have the heart. Right. On one hand, I can count how many times I hit all three children on one hand. And I got a thumb left over.
Well... Well, they're little ones. How are they going to sit there for 2 hours, on a Thursday night and not be fidgety and, tired and everything else? I mean,
or even Sunday, you're sitting there in the morning or in the afternoon, and you see the sun, you're walking into the hall and the sun is shining, and you want to play.
Right. There's no school, so, you do want to play. And then yet you got to sit there like a little grown adult, and you don't understand what they're saying, and you're so bored. Yeah, that would be extremely difficult. But Sharon, the thing I wanted to ask you too, so now since you've been out, how has your life been since you've been out of the organization? Can you share with, the audience?
I would say it is fuller. I am much happier. I don't worry about what other people think. Well, I never really did, but I still kind of, walked on eggshells, so I wouldn't get in too much trouble. Yeah.
That's a big one, Sharon. Always trying to have people's approval, in the organization.
Yeah, and I never got it.
Right. And everyone had to try to be as perfect as they could be, and you never could
be,
but you still had to try to please everyone.
Right.
And what about, honey, just a sense of freedom? We were talking about that today. Freedom. Remember?
Oh, God, yeah. The freedom is incredible.
Tell the joke. What's the joke?
What do ex-JWs and ex-convicts have in common?
What?
We both remember the day of our freedom.
I love that. That's so cute. Yeah, because a lot of times you'll hear people say, "Well, how long were you in, or when did you get out?"
Yeah,
prisoners talk. That's how prisoners talk.
It's a prison term.
It is.
Your mind is what's captive, not you. Your
That's
mind.
right. Yeah, your mind for sure. But honey, the thing is, my heart goes out to the people who are still in, because they don't have freedom. They don't even know what freedom is all about. And God didn't create us to be little drones. That's Watchtower propaganda. That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's not a Christian.
Think about this, what you said about my mother being mentally ill. She would have to be mentally ill to plot the murder of all her children so that they wouldn't go through Armageddon. And the reason that made her come to this conclusion was because she took my two little sisters. This is before I met Eddie. She took my two little sisters to a car wash, and they were terrified, and they were screaming from the car wash. So when she got home, she, and she's so dumb, because she would tell me stuff as if she's like I was a sounding board. Like I said, because I'm tall, or I got a sign over my head. I don't know. Anyway, she would tell me that she was thinking of killing us, so we wouldn't have to go through Armageddon. And it was because of my sisters being afraid in the car wash. She said if they were afraid of water, what about the thunder and lightning and the boulders and everything that's going to come down from heaven?
Your mom is very sadistic, Sharon.
There's something definitely wrong. I don't know how most of us turned out okay. I mean, really. So this is what she tells me. Right. And then she goes to the doctor, okay, and she gets sleeping pills.
Brother. Yeah.
My mother stopped cooking once me and my sister, the Pioneer, started cooking as little kids, 5 and 6 years old. We started cooking.
You became like the mother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when she all of a sudden volunteers to cook without company coming, something's up.
Uh-oh.
So there was one night that she had, and if you ever saw my house, from my brother's bed in the upstairs, we had a divider going down the stairs. It was like a separation, little shelves that you could see into the living room. Right, and if you were on the stairs, and you were in the dark, you could look into the kitchen and nobody could see you.
Oh boy.
Okay. So when my mother decided to start cooking, we started watching her.
You thought she was going to poison you?
Yes.
Right.
And she attempted it. She put all the pills in the pot one night.
Oh my God, Sharon.
We didn't eat it. We didn't even give it to the dogs. We wouldn't give it to the dogs.
Oh my gosh.
Because we want nothing to happen to the dogs, So we would take a bowl, go in the bathroom and flush it. This is what we were all doing, okay? Because the little ones, they couldn't, we would make the second and third trip into the bathroom.
Right.
Because my little brother wasn't born yet, so there was just 8 of us, okay? Mm-hmm. And we were dumping all this stuff down the bowl. Well, my mother decided all of a sudden she wanted scrambled eggs and toast. She didn't want to eat what she made us.
Oh, my word. How convenient for her, right?
Yeah.
Well, mm-hmm. Now, did your father have the dinner or no?
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, he did not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, sometimes when my father came home, his food was in the oven, but this particular night, I guess she wanted to keep him. I don't know, but he didn't get any food that night. Well, none of us did, really. So anyway, the next morning we wake up. What's my mother doing? Connie, something she never does.
What?
She's singing. She's singing in the morning.
Oh my
She's
word!
singing. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, she's singing. Yeah. And then we come down the stairs. Man, was she in a bad mood the rest of the day?
because her
We
it
lived.
didn't work. You lived.
We lived.
Yeah. I think your mother definitely suffered from mental illness, but then I
Something
remember,
was wrong.
well, she didn't have all of her, her floor didn't reach the top floor, right? The elevator.
Yeah, right.
That's what the expression is, or she had some loose marbles. But I was going to say the other thing too is she was involved in spiritism even when she
Yes.
was a GW too.
Yes.
I thought
And
that was
that was in the last letter that I sent her. The last letter I sent her, I said to her, "You thought you threw Satan out, you brought him in."
Mm-hmm.
And I could just imagine the fury that went through her when I did that.
Mm-hmm. Now your mother's no longer living. She passed away.
No, and I've yet to mourn her.
Yeah.
I haven't even cried.
Yeah. She wasn't much of a mother to you, Sharon.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're a survivor with this whole thing, this whole situation with your family dynamics and Watchtower. And that's the thing I was going to say. We walk away.
Wow, I never thought of it like that.
What,
I
honey?
think it would have to be done. I never thought of it like that. I just it would have to be done.
Right. But, you're a survivor. I mean, you walk away, whether it's a divorce or losing a child or a home bankrupt or painful. Losing a job or, it's things that, an illness, things, the hurdles of life, a person will walk away with scars. But the point I wanted to make is, a person has a choice. There are things in life that happen you have no control over, okay? But a person does have control over their mindset of how they're going to look at a situation that occurred to them. So my point is a person can wallow in their pity. Oh, I'm a victim. This is what happened with me. Well, that happens for a while. But then you got to pick yourself up and you got to move on with your life and take control of your life. And rather than being a victim, you become a victor. You're victorious over your situation.
Yeah. You can sit and wallow in the mud and mire only so long before you become part of it. And then everything you touch is dirty. Just get away from it. Look what it did to you.
Oh, yeah.
Prove that you're better than that. Prove that you are worthy.
Right, honey. Right. And the thing is, there's nothing Christian about it. This is what's so asinine about the whole thing. This whole thing about being disfellowshipped and losing your family or not taking a blood transfusion or whatever the case is, giving your blood, sweat, and tears to this organization for your whole life and realize that, oh my gosh, people burnt out and everything. The point is, this is not what God's all about. Not at all.
No.
Not even
Definitely
close.
not.
It should be about love. It should be about unity, family, togetherness.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying to you before about feeling like I was in a cocoon.
Yes.
I think that was my protection. Because if I was accepted as well as my sister is, I'd probably still be there. But because I did not have that connection with them, and they made me feel like I wasn't even worthy to read their stinking books,
Well, the point that
was a protection to me.
Well, I think it was, honey. And the thing I was going to say is that, when you see, a cocoon, right? When the cocoon is broken, then you have the butterfly that evolves, and then the butterfly is free, right? I mean, it's a transformation. Right. So that's what
it's a gypsy moth cocoon, and you're so ticked off at what they did to you, you become the hundreds that escape and expose the mess out of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you take control of your life. You take control of your life, and rather than being the victim and just having them destroy you, and you believe their lies, you rise above it and you expose them for the liars that they are. Right. That's what you do. Like I was saying 2 weeks ago, I said it. it just came into my spirit. But, the brothers and sisters have been used and abused and then thrown under the bus. I don't care if you're a Bethelite, circuit overseer, elder, whatever. The point is that Watchtower, it came to my spirit, Sharon, that Watchtower is like a pimp. And I thought, how is it like a pimp? Well, pimps, what they do is they use these women, manipulate and control them and own them and tell them what they can do and what they can't do. And, they're very, very cruel to these people for their own personal financial gain. And then when they're done with them, that's it. They have nothing to do with them.
Right. Or they have nothing to do with God either.
Right. Well, and
they just don't.
It's very difficult for these prostitutes to get out of that environment because that's the security. That's all they know. But if they can get support like what we're offering here with 6 screens, that they're not alone and there is life outside and a very happy life outside of Watchtower, they break free from that. And it's like, oh my God, I had no idea that life could be so great and so much freedom. But they believe that, the pimp owns me and that's all there is that I have to.
Connie, isn't this wild? I hated service. I could not go out in service without showing them what I was bringing to the door. They always said, make sure your magazines were facing you. I made sure they were facing the householder, so they would chase me away. I don't want to talk to these people. You would think that I would pay attention to my subconscious, but I wasn't for some reason. Okay, I just didn't want to do that to somebody.
A lot of people do.
I didn't want to talk about it to them, but yet I will expose them in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Honey,
the knowledge I have about them now, I will expose them, what they're thinking, all that. I will do that in a heartbeat. But to preach what they were shoving out, isn't that wild? I couldn't do it.
Right. Well, honey, I think God always could read your heart and knew the kind of person that you are since he created you in your mother's womb. And, there was that protection. I really do believe that. Maybe you might want to share with the audience the book that you wrote about the JWs and the language and how you.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was really nice.
You want to say something?
Sincerely have a feeling my father was behind that. I really, really do. Okay. I wrote the only book I ever wrote under my real name. And I took screenshots from what JWs were saying to ex-JWs in the groups, in PMs, what people were sending to their disfellowship children. I screenshotted everything and I put it in a book. I changed JW's names.
Was it on Facebook?
No, it was on Amazon.
Amazon, okay.
I was selling it on Amazon. Yeah.
The comments that the JW said.
The comments. Oh, yeah. They were either on YouTube videos.
There you go. Yeah.
Or Facebook comments.
Okay.
Horrid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, really, really. These are JWs. I mean, you can't even say that these are like any other sailors, drunken sailors, when they start talking, holy mackerel, the things that these people came out with, because they don't think that anybody outside in the world would see this. The one that put me over the edge was this woman said to me, I think you have the same brain cancer as your daughter. That put me over the edge. And I was like, this is it. I had enough of you freaking people. I'm exposing every single one of your comments. And I just went on an escapade. And I had XJW sending me stuff like crazy stuff that they got from their family. Letters. If only you would come back to the J guy, we could talk. We could have a relationship. Who wants a hostage relationship with an evil being as your backbone? Give me a hypo here. So yeah, I put that together. And I had in it that for every $10 in sales, I was going to send 75 cents to the Silent Lambs. And then all the names of JWs I changed
Mm-hmm.
The XJWs, they allowed me to keep their names, so I kept their names. But all the JWs, I scrambled up their names so they couldn't be recognized.
Yeah.
But like I said, everything was screenshot, and except for my own comments, which I was extremely angry when I wrote that because that lady said that to me. I went, oh my God. I just flipped out when she said that.
Yeah, that was
I just
cruel.
flipped.
Yeah. And
So I just put that book together.
What's the name of your book?
It's called The Cult at the Door, The Witness You Will Never See.
Right. And people can get that on Amazon.
No, they can't because, like I said, I think my father had a hand in this. Amazon contacted me.
Oh.
And said to me that if Watchtower wanted to sue me, even though I put in that fair use disclaimer that everything that I was writing was for educational purposes to get people to wake up.
Right.
If Watchtower wanted to sue me, Amazon would not stand behind me.
Oh, I see.
For my First Amendment.
So Amazon doesn't sell the book anymore?
No, I can get the book.
You can get it.
I just cannot sell it.
Oh.
I'm not allowed to sell it. So they totally wiped out that avenue for me.
Wow.
So, yeah. So now I've spoken to you several times about my Aunt Charlotte, my father's sister. So I sent the book to her, right?
Right.
And me and Aunt Charlotte, we talk. One week I call her, following week she calls me, back and forth, right?
Right.
I send her the book, and I say, Aunt Charlotte, she get the book. Yeah, she got the book. She's going to read it. Okay. I don't hear from Aunt Charlotte for 3 weeks. I'm calling Aunt Charlotte, leaving messages. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't send Aunt Charlotte that book. Maybe it was a little bit too strong for her. Okay. Well, here it is. 10:30 my time. Aunt Charlotte's over in Louisiana, so she's an hour behind me. And I look at the phone, and I'm like, Aunt Charlotte calling me at this hour? Wow. So I pick it up, and I go, hey, Aunt Charlotte, how are you? She goes, Shug, because she never calls me Sharon. It's always Shug.
Yeah.
She said, I cannot believe your father is in this organization with everything. She just couldn't believe how they really are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how could anybody want to be deceived in such a fashion as the witnesses?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and this is her brother, your father.
My father, yeah. So now my cousin, her daughter, her granddaughter got brain cancer also.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry.
And she was diagnosed a year ago. She's already gone, this poor baby. So they had the book. My father's side of the family, who were never JWs, they all read this book, okay? And I called up my cousin, and I said to her, I'm really worried about your daughter. This is the mother of the little girl who got the brain cancer. I said, I don't want my father or my sister to get a hold of you guys because they will give you such warped ideas. And she said to me, she goes, cuz we read that book. Ain't no way any of us are ever going to join that cult.
That's right.
They were shocked.
Well, what's interesting, remember, God says out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? So you have all these snap screenshots of the
screenshots. Yep.
Of exactly what they said and all their profanity and everything.
Yep. Drop dead. Go F yourself. Go suck on a tailpipe. Go kiss a transformer. Why don't you just go kill yourself if you don't believe what we believe? You're a waste of breath. You got to see some of these comments from these JWs.
Very evil. Very. And Sharon, the thing about it, they have so much anger and rage inside their hearts. Where's the Christian love, right? Really?
It's not there.
It's not there.
It's not there.
It never was.
No. I had one JW in the group say, why do you got to bring up this old garbage? Why do you got to rehash this? And I said, were we not told that a rotten tree produces rotten fruit? And where does the tree grow from? The roots.
That's right. That's right. And remember, honey, that we were talking today about, what was it, Mark 4:22?
John 1:1, yeah.
No, not John 1:1. Mark 4:22 about...
Oh, 4:22, that everything will be exposed, yeah.
Everything that's hidden will be exposed. And I find that to be very, very true about this organization. They think that they can just keep it quiet so they can...
They think they can fool God. That's the funny part.
Well, that's
the
it.
God that they're all taking, that they're all kowtowing to. Yeah, he ain't the big guy. He's not the father. He's just some little guy that wants his own little organization of puppets that he can control.
And they make these policies that just keep flipping and flopping. And I think after a while, people have to either be brain dead or they're just
dumbed down. They're dumbed down.
Yeah, or they just
they're hypnotized.
They're hypnotized, Sharon.
They're hypnotized.
Yeah.
Because when you come out of that stupor, you're shocked that it's really you, that you yourself was able to fall for nonsense like this. It's almost like you got a new brain in your head, and what happened to the other one? You don't know, you don't care, because this new one is like, what was wrong with you?
Right.
Look at what you missed out. Look at the lies. Look at the scandals. Look at the hostage situations just for a pittance of love. And that's what it's almost like begrudgingly given to you.
Well, I think a lot of people are so afraid to leave because it's the fear of the unknown. They don't know what to expect out in the real world. It's like a prisoner, Yeah, they're in prison. I mean, I've dealt with that population. And this one, when I was Health and Human Services, and this guy, came in for food stamps, and he said, "Wow," he says, I talked to him a little bit, and I said, "Well, how long were you in prison?" "Well, I was in prison 10 years." And I said, "Wow, well, how's it feel to be out?" And he said, "Man, I can't believe how much life has changed in 10 years." And I said, "Yeah, well, like what?" He said, "The cars. My gosh, the cars have changed like crazy in 10 years. And I said, "Well, what else?" He says, "The phones." He said, "Oh my gosh, I went in, there were no cell phones. Now everybody has a cell phone." He said, "It's a totally different world, So
that's the Shawshank Redemption. You want to see prison shock.
Yeah. But Sharon, I mean, that's what Watchtower inculcates so much fear. Oh, the world is so bad and so evil. You leave Jehovah's organization like the dog returning to his own vomit. They've got all these scriptures that terrify
people. And they're just people. They're just people like us.
Right.
That's all they are. They're not scary, boogeyman that aren't Watchtower anointed. No, they're just regular people.
Right.
Who love their families, want to get along with everybody, don't have an agenda. Well, do you believe this? Do you believe this? Do you believe this? What are you baptized? No, they just want to be people. And what's so wrong about being a regular person? Why do you got to have this elite status as, "Oh, I'm a JW, I know everything, I know the Bible better than..." No, you don't.
No, they don't. Not even close.
It's not until you leave do you get knowledge.
That's exactly right.
That's the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. And Sharon, the thing is, talking about being saved, I mean, Rich and I've talked about this. These people, they're not saved whatsoever. They don't even know what you're talking about when you say being saved. They have no clue. Watchtower doesn't teach that at all. Grace and mercy. I mean, why would you just fellowship someone, if you really believe the Bible where Jesus talked about grace and mercy, okay? He talked about it, grace and mercy. He didn't talk about disfellowshipping people, okay?
Yeah.
Peter denied him 3 times, and yet when he was resurrected, the first person he wanted to see was Peter. He said, "Bring Peter. I'm going to talk to Peter." And he asked Peter 3 times, "Peter, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord, I love you." "Peter, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord, I love you." "Peter, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord, I love you." He asked him 3 times because he denied him 3 times. And so, he believed him. He loved him. There was forgiveness. Jesus knew he was imperfect. That was it. There was none of this being disfellowshipping and throwing
No.
people out of your family and out of your household because, you know, they've done something wrong. Nobody's perfect. You know,
No.
I'm not saying go out and, you know, sin and live a.
Yeah, what about them, man?
Yeah,
What about them?
You're all imperfect. You just try to do the best.
They're aware of all the garbage that's going on. And then what about them? Doesn't it say watch over the flock? But you have to be held twice accountable?
Oh, yeah. Big time, Sharon. Big time. They got all the dirty secrets. You know that.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah, you live that with your family. You know that. Yeah. And that's the thing about it, you know. You know, the way I see it is that people, I see it this way in life with Watchtower, good versus evil. And Watchtower is so dark. They're so dark spiritually, and they're so evil. The lies, the corruption, the pedophilia. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. They're like little puppeteers, just pulling the strings of all these people, destroying their lives, keeping them in total darkness. And the thing is that, you know, they think they have the Holy Spirit, God's Holy Spirit. They are so dark and demonic and evil. Okay? And that's what it is. And we are exposing them and proud of it. You don't have anything to be afraid of when you really know who you are in Christ. You know, God says, you know, greater is he that is in you than he is in the world. And if you really know that and you believe it and you have God's Holy Spirit, you don't have to be afraid of evil. Okay? Evil has to be afraid of you. The demons know the scriptures. There's no doubt about it. But if you're a spiritual warrior and you really know who you are in Christ, oh, the demons are terrified of you. Have a conversation with John Ramirez. He'll teach you on that subject, and you'll really understand. You have nothing to be afraid of with Watchtower. His mom was a JW.
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Yeah. Yeah. You have nothing to be afraid of. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on what Connie was saying. You know, me and Rick went up to Columbia Heights, went to the front desk, and we want to talk to any member of the governing body. Yeah. And Rick says, and I'm Rick Ferrings. Oh, we know who you are. They were afraid. They had like 8 security guards coming down there in the little blue jackets and white shirts. They were afraid of us. So, you know, I know Rick's got the voice changer machine, all that stuff. Once you stand up against these folks, you're going to feel really, really good about yourself, and you're going to get the monkey off your back.
Well, they're cowards. They're cowards because they wouldn't even come out. And even when, what was her name? The one that was Romy. When Romy went up to Watchtower Bible Tract Society, the new headquarters, she wanted to meet with any of the governing body members. They were cowards. Oh, no, they're not available. They're a bunch of cowards. They're like an ostrich putting their head in the sand, and yet they try to act like they, you know.
They're the American popes.
Yeah.
They're the American popes. You need ask for an audience before them. Yeah, give me a break. Where they got rings for us to kiss too? I mean, we kissed their behinds for how long? Now they won't. I mean, come on. Well, like they're a bunch of men who put their pants on the same way as every one of us. Go to the bathroom, same as every one of us, and we'll die the same as every one of us.
Well, you know, when people have seen like the Australian Royal Commission and they saw Jeffrey Jackson get up there and said, you know, oh, we would be so presumptuous to think that, you know, we have basically, you know, we're the true organization. And, you know, when people really saw that on the Australian Royal Commission, it opened up their eyes like, oh my gosh, this is a governing body member saying this? Yeah. And yet you sit there how many years believing that this is, you know, God's channel of communication, the Watchtower Bible Tract Society, and we are the anointed ones, the governing body. And then he gets on the stand and he crumbles, okay? Crumbles. Yeah. And this is somebody you're supposed to, you know, pay attention to and listen to. And it's like they want to be worshiped today, you know, and the Bible says you be worshiping earthly men, you know?
When my daughter passed, the hospice aide that was coming to the house, she said to me, why don't you just come to my church? I know your whole background, because I told her everything to make sure she don't go to Watchtower. She said, why don't you come to my church? And I was like, all right, let me go. Okay. So I go, imagine my surprise when I see J. Guy Gira, this, I'm like, I can't handle this. I had to leave. I couldn't, because I know that name is evil.
Yeah,
I just know it's evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing when you watch movies and the little kid is hiding from ghosts and whatnot, and the whole area is filled with crosses. That's where the ghosts go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You call that name, that's when the demons come.
Yeah. Yeah. What church, honey, was it this lady was inviting you to?
It was some church in North Carolina. I don't even know what it was, Baptist, Methodist. I have no idea. It was like right after I lost my bussy that, she had suggested that. But after seeing that, I couldn't. I just could not. I was like, no, I had enough of that guy.
Yeah. Well, I think if people just read their own Bible and pray to God, and the Holy Spirit is the comforter, and, that's it. You don't have to belong to a religion or anything of that.
No, you don't need a religion, that's for sure. When people ask me, where's your church? Outside the sky. That's my church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the thing is that, people think you have to belong to an organized religion. It's not about religion. It's about a personal relationship with Christ. That's what it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And people get, as first thing, like, JW will say, well, what religion do you belong to? That's the first thing they ask. They got to size everybody up.
Yeah. My grandfather, my mother's father, he was never a witness, and he hated the witnesses. He used to say, if you want to talk to God, go talk to God. What do you need these guys for? And I've been, Papa, you don't understand. They're the elders. So what are they the elders of? They're younger than me. What are they elders of?
Yeah.
And I never really understood this man until now that I'm, awake. I understand everything that he was telling me. Everything.
Right.
It all made so much sense.
Well, and your papa was like, our age now, right? Or we're
yeah,
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was killed when he was 79.
But he lived his life. He knew what life was all about, right? He wasn't caught up in the delusional feeling. Goodness, they're mighty, they're elders, they have this status.
No, he had no use for religion. In New York, they were having some kind of bazaar for some saint, and his sister was struck by one of the cars, the old cars that they had back then. She ran out in the street, and it killed her. And she was the wake was in the living room, well, the parlor, they called it. And the priest came over for my great-grandmother, and my grandfather was there listening. And he was only concerned with the cakes and pies and bread she was going to bake for this bazaar, whichever saint this was in New York. And nothing about his sister. His sister's name was Dolly. He said nothing about Dolly. He goes, from that moment on, he was 12. He said, I had no use for religion after that.
Oh, wow. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, that was an eye-opening experience for him.
Yeah.
Isn't that something, Sharon? Well, I was going to say, is there anything else you would like to add? And then I was going to ask you, honey, if you're okay with people calling in and asking questions.
Sure, I'm fine with that, as long as we're not cutting into anybody's time.
No, I think we're okay, honey. But was there anything else that you wanted to add at all with your testimony?
Well, this is just on a personal note. I felt very uncomfortable all those years being there. I don't know why I wasn't listening to my body, but because of that and not being allowed to like celebrate birthdays and school and whatnot, I spent a lot of time in the library.
Yeah.
So I did an awful lot of research, which was why it struck me so weird when one of the announcements that woke me up was no researching the internet, because I researched the historical romance that I write. And that's where I put myself in those books. That's why they're very it's like you're there. Okay, I don't mean to like puff up my writing or anything, but I write a lot better than I talk. I'm just your typical Long Island girl that don't talk well. That's what I am. But I can write very well.
She's a professional writer for people who don't know.
Yeah.
That. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a historic romance writer. And that's, I mean, I think by being cocooned away from Watchtower, I had to find my own world. And that's what I did. I delved into mythology and everything else that I use in my novels.
Yeah. And when you research, you've told me that you researched like 4 years before you start writing.
Yeah. Before I even picked up a pen, and I did it by hand, 2,000 pages, both sides. I wrote it out.
Wow, Sharon. Yeah. That's incredible. That's really incredible. Well, and then life, I mean, with the freedom, the sense of freedom, how do you feel now, Sharon?
I'm just, it's almost like the Watchtower was a long nightmare that I finally woke up from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We were talking today, like sometimes it's hard to believe that we were ever part of it, you know? I mean, I've been out 40 years. But, you know, that's where the
12 for me. Yeah.
Well, that's where the personal growth comes in, you know, number one.
Yeah.
And you become stronger, number two. And then, you know, if you're a person who's a giver and you really love people and you love life, you know, you want to reach out and help other people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm telling you, for people who want to make friends, I am very friendly with the police department, the fire department, the sheriff's department, because I bake for them. And I've only done that because they were the first ones that came to the house when my daughter passed. They were there immediately. So right after that, where I did live in North Carolina, I sort of took that firehouse station under my wing, and I just started cooking and baking for them. And Rich, you know I can cook well.
She's Italian. She can cook, let me tell you. She can cook really well.
So now I'm spoiling these guys over here. And when I brought banana muffins over to the police department, they were like, "You need us, you just call us. We will be right there. Don't you worry. We will be right there." I was like, "Okay."
That's so cute, Sharon. Well, that's the way you show your love to people too, is cooking through your cooking.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's through all the shifts too, because I know that the first shift is going to eat everything. So there was one night I went there, and there was an officer there, and I introduced myself, and I told him I was from North Carolina, and he goes, "You don't sound like you're from North Carolina." And I said to him, "You don't sound like you're from Virginia." He was, "Well, I'm from Brooklyn." I said, "Well, I'm a Long Island girl."
That is so cute. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. That is so great. Well, how about, honey, if we open up the lines to see if anybody would like to call in and ask questions or comments or whatever. So *6 for anybody who would like to call in. Say hello to Sharon. Now's your chance.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, who is this?
It's me again. Remember me from last week?
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks. You do remember me.
Yeah, I remember your accent. Yeah.
And I'm the one who just talked to you last time you were on here, last week.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
How about some Indian food?
I love Indian food. Oh my God, that is awesome.
Persian, Turkish, Arab.
Oh my goodness, I've never had that, but I have had Indian food, and it is amazing.
It is. Turkish is great, and some Arab is great. Persian food, now that's good.
Is that a lot of olive oil?
Well, actually, it's like Arab and Turkish. It's so close to it. And it's a hybrid of this. And it's Afghan food. Now, that's good, too.
Is that kind of spicy?
No, it's actually not spicy like Indian, like so much.
Okay.
It's not.
Yeah, I like the heat.
Have a question or comment?
And I like what about this thing with this, how oppressive it is? I know was this another speaker on the line?
I think that's you, right, Rich?
Yeah, I was just, wondering if you had a question or a comment other than cooking.
That was just to get us started. And about this cult, it's serious how satanic it is.
Yes. You're absolutely right. It just permeates evil.
I just am just so angry with it so much.
Yeah. How long have you been out?
I've been just stopped going. I think since COVID, I've quit going.
Have you been doing any kind of research on their history?
I've done some research.
Because, I found for myself, the more angry that I was, the more research I did, the easier it was to let go of that anger because I saw how silly they were.
Yeah. They all you do making a fool of them is knock on doors and just making a fool of yourself.
Exactly. Because how many people on the other side of that door know exactly what's going on, and the JW knocking on that door has no clue.
I got a lot of relatives that's against this or cult. They are, and rightly so. Because they see it for, I'm going to say, they were right all along. Even the ones that divorced from the family, they saw it for what it is, and they were right.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell them, thank you so much for being exposing.
No problem. You got to expose too. That will help you get over your anger.
And I have it sometimes, but I get better with it. It's an off and on thing.
Yeah. It's not like you're on continuous anger on button. It's going to take some time if you just left after that thing that went on the whole planet. It's going to take some time. But don't give up. Don't give up because you're a lot better off right now than you were inside.
And also, when you'll understand better once you understand the best once you're on the outside looking in.
Definitely.
Sometimes I even, all that rhetoric, I even Watchtower. I have to confess that in my own mind.
Yeah. But you got to get to a point though. You got to just let that go because you're the only one hurting. They hurt you enough. The way to get back at them is to live well.
Right on.
Great comment.
And we love Dick and Connie's program. It's a blessing.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, thank you, brother. But it's, thank you. That's a nice compliment. But, it's not about the thing is, honey, Sharon's absolutely right. You live a great life. Watchtower can't stand that. Oh my gosh, they can't stand that. That's how you do get back. You do.
Yeah.
And you keep moving forward.
Appreciate you sharing that. Sure, there's others waiting for a chance too.
Well, we're just trying to help everybody because it is scary. It's scary. It's the unknown, but that's why we're here to support everybody. with the show and testimonies and so forth. You know, freedom feels pretty darn good, but you won't ever have freedom as long as you're in bondage with, you know, whether you're in prison or you're in Watchtower. There's no difference.
Right. The witch tower is what I call it.
You know, isn't it weird though? They all say that they're so happy and they're jumping up in all the videos and all that stuff. But if you ask them if they're really happy, I don't think they're going to tell you they're really happy.
Oh, no.
If they're being honest.
Right on.
You know, Sharon, they used to say they were the happiest people, right? What a Joe said. If they're so happy, tell me why there's so many alcoholics and so many sisters popping those antidepressant drugs.
Yeah.
Giving people Alzheimer's down the road if they're so happy. Really? Who are they trying to fool? They're the ones that are going to lose out when they don't even remember their names, or a loved one that comes visits them, they don't even recognize them.
Yeah, what they do to the elderly is disgusting. It really is. It really is disgusting.
So thank you, brother, for calling in. Anybody else would like to call in and say hi to Sharon? You want to say something, Rich? I can't believe they're so quiet.
Well,
too overpowering.
No. Well, we've been at it for 2 hours now, and I think
oh my God, really? Whoa, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I'm afraid that Gilbert's going to send a missile into my house. But I'll get off the air. But I want to thank everybody for.
I just had one thing.
Sure, go ahead.
I really enjoyed Sharon's interview, and I wanted to recommend a paperback book for her called Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers.
Ooh, let me write that down, Pixie. Say that again.
Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers.
Whoa.
No other book like it. It's about a $10. What?
Do you know who the author is by any chance?
It's at Amazon. It's about a $10 paperback, and there's not anything else in that category. And it might help you look at the past in a different way because it's a topic that people don't talk about.
Wow. I appreciate that, Pixie. You know, I was thinking about you because you said that you were living in I think it was 1737 house or something.
What?
The last time we were on, you were saying something about you were living in the 1700s.
Oh, my whole childhood town was from a long time ago, and I had a wonderful neighborhood, and my little town was so helpful for me as a teen and in my 20s, and even now looking back. And I had a supportive community in my little town, and a lot of people live in suburbia now. So if they're witnesses, they don't have a supportive little town.
Right. And I was thinking about that because of the 1750s past the Revolutionary War. That's the time period I write in. And I was like, oh, this is in my time.
I'd love to read one of your fictions very much. Do you have a title that I should get?
Yes. Matter of fact, Rick has one of my books. If he wants to send it on to you, that would be fine with me.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd love to read one of your fictions.
Yeah, it's a saga. It's a family saga. It parallels the Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey, the first novel ever written. Yeah, it parallels that totally. He's just an Odysseus in the 18th century. That's how I have it.
Oh, I love that era. I love the clothes.
Yeah,
we're getting ready for
food.
We're getting ready for a 250th birthday of America soon. I'm going to have a bouffant, a big dress. I'll have a French robe and a bouffant.
That is a bicentennial?
Yes. Have you thought of writing a historic fiction about a witness sister?
Not yet. I haven't. I'm in the middle of writing a screenplay right now because I thought I had 3 books. But I actually have 9 books because it goes by word count. So yeah, I have.
Welcome to My One Number. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, wait. Please enter your PIN. Thank you. There are 12 participants in the conference. Recording did not start because your storage is full. Please log in and delete recordings or purchase more storage from your account.
And I'm looking back over some of the things that I knew as a kid that weren't good, that things that you and I went through separately together, other people went through.
Yes.
And the Agape Lodge was part of the Ordo Templi Orientis in New York.
No way.
And the witnesses stopped saying agape to each other because my godparents were very cool and they would always sign their letters that way. And after about 1970, they stopped doing that.
70, yeah, I think it was 73, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm. And as
because my daughter was just born.
Yeah, and as a journalist, I got to know different stories. You know, you go and you meet people, and they let you into their world, and you ask questions. And I found out that the Agape Lodge was in Manhattan, and I could write a book, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Dixie, when Rick gives me that information, I will send you a copy of the Witness You Will Never See.
Okay. I look forward to interfacing with you and being friends. I think we have a lot in common.
I think so too. That sounds like a plan.
Well, I'm online waiting for to listen to Gilbert and Friends. So have a wonderful evening.
I think we're done. You too, Pixie. Thank you so much. We're done, right, Connie?
Yeah. Okay, honey. Well, thank you everybody for calling in and listening. And Sharon, we love you. Thank you, honey, so much for coming up.
Love you guys too. Love you guys.
Thank you, sweetheart. And Rick, are you there?
Right here, Constance. Can you hear me?
Yeah, honey, we can hear you fine.
All right, very good. Good program. Thank you for having Sharon come on tonight. She did a great job, and always good to hear from Sharon. It's great. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rick.
All right.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Dick. Thank you, Constance. Well, we're going to go to Gilbert here shortly. We're looking for him now. So anyways, we appreciate that program. We're looking for Gilbert Gonzalez. Gilbert, there you are. We're going to bring Gilbert on very, very shortly here. I see him on with us now. Let's just check and make sure that he can hear us all right. Hello, Gilbert. Hey, doing good, Gilbert. Good. So anyways, what we'll do is I'll introduce the program, bring you on. So give me a second here. So I'll bring you back out and we'll get the program started. Okay. So let's hold on here. Let's get this program going right now live. Let's go right now. Hold on. Just give us a second. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome into our program, Tale of Two Witnesses. We've got Gilbert Gonzalez. We got his brother Jesse coming on as well. So we're looking forward to the program, Tale of Two Witnesses. And let's bring Gilbert on right now. Say hello to Gilbert. Hello, Gilbert. I'm good. So my goodness, what do you got on there? You got a vest on? Looks like it looks like, yeah, it looks like the garbage truck vest. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, there you go. I'm with you. So listen, I'm looking forward to the program tonight. So I'm going to step out of the scene, but I'm here if you need me. Thank you, Gilbert.